Hello, guys. Today, we start our episode with a quotation. Happy families are all alike. Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. This seminal opening line not only sets the stage for a profound exploration of love, fidelity, and societal expectations, but also encapsulates Tolstoy's lifelong fascination with, and often contradictory views on, the institution of marriage. Leo Tolstoy, 1828–1910, the titan of Russian literature, gifted the world masterpieces like War and Peace and Anna Karenina. Yet, beneath the grand narratives of his novels lay a personal life of profound complexity, none more so than his 48-year marriage to Sofia Andreevna Bez, or Sonia as she was known. Their union, initially a whirlwind of passion and intellectual camaraderie, slowly devolved into a protracted, agonizing battleground of wills, ideologies, and raw human emotion, punctuated by accusations, betrayals, and public stifes that often overshadowed his literary genius. Their courtship was swift and intense. In 1862, the 34-year-old Count, already a celebrated writer, proposed to the 18-year-old Sophia, the daughter of a court physician. He was captivated by her intelligence, vitality, and beauty. She, by his towering intellect and charisma. Before their wedding, in an act of shocking candor, or perhaps cruel naivety, Tolstoy insisted Sophia read his diaries, which detailed his dissolute youth, his sexual exploits, and his premarital affair with a peasant woman. This act, intended as a gesture of honesty, instead sowed seeds of insecurity and jealousy that would fester for decades, a recurring phantom in their intimate life. The early years were idyllic, marked by a deep physical and intellectual bond. Sophia was not merely a wife, she was his indispensable partner, managing their vast estate, raising their 13 children, 8 of whom survived to adulthood, and, crucially, serving as his tireless copyist. She meticulously transcribed his sprawling manuscripts, often several times over, her neat hand transforming his chaotic drafts into legible masterpieces. She was the anchor that allowed his creative genius to flourish. As Tolstoy aged, his spiritual and philosophical views grew increasingly radical. He underwent a profound moral crisis, renouncing his aristocratic wealth, advocating for Christian anarchism, pacifism, and a return to simple peasant life. He yearned to give away his property, live in poverty, and even renounce the copyright to his works, believing that art should be freely accessible. This radical idealism clashed violently with Sophia's pragmatic nature. She was devoted to their children's future, their financial security, and the preservation of their family's legacy. She saw his spiritual quest as a dangerous, even insane, threat to their very existence. The estate, Yasnaya Polyana, became a battleground where his ascetic desires clashed with her desperate attempts to maintain a semblance of normalcy and prosperity for their enormous family. The private torment between them was exacerbated by their shared, and destructive, habit of reading each other's diaries. This morbid fascination became a weapon, a source of endless recrimination and hurt. Sophia, haunted by his past confessions, would read his current entries, searching for perceived slights, signs of his waning affection, or evidence of his growing detachment. Tolstoy, in turn, would read her anguished complaints, fueling his conviction that she was materialistic and spiritually blind. Their most intimate thoughts, meant for self-reflection, became ammunition in their marital war. The publication of Tolstoy's novella, The Kreutzer Sonata, 1889, ignited a major public scandal and inflicted deep wounds on Sophia. The story, a chilling exploration of marital jealousy, sexual passion, and the destructive nature of conventional marriage, was widely interpreted as a thinly veiled, brutal critique of his own relationship with Sophia. The public devoured the sensational details, speculating wildly about their private life. Sophia was publicly humiliated, feeling exposed and villainized by her own husband's work. She wrote in her diary, "It is as if he has put me to shame before the whole world." The novella caused such a stir that it was initially banned in Russia and even drew condemnation from President Theodore Roosevelt in the United States. Adding fuel to the fire was the constant presence of Tolstoyans, disciples who flocked to Yasnaya Polyana, eager to live by the master's radical teachings. These followers often sided with Tolstoy, validating his asceticism and implicitly condemning Sophia's more conventional concerns. She felt increasingly isolated, demonized as the materialistic obstacle to her husband's spiritual purity, even as she managed the household, raised their children, and tirelessly copied his manuscripts. The estate, once a private sanctuary, became a public spectacle, with Sophia feeling like a prisoner in her own home, constantly judged by those who idolized her husband. The culmination of their lifelong struggle came in October 1910. At the age of 82, frail and tormented by the incessant conflict, Tolstoy made a dramatic and secret escape from Yasnaya Polyana. Accompanied by his doctor, he fled into the night, seeking peace and a simpler life away from the perceived pressures of his family and the constant strife with Sophia. This desperate flight, a final, public rejection of his domestic life, became the ultimate deed of their marriage. Sophia, discovering his departure, was consumed by grief and despair. She attempted suicide, throwing herself into a pond, only to be pulled out by her children. The media frenzy surrounding Tolstoy's flight and his subsequent illness at Ostapovo railway station was immense. He died 10 days later, on November 20, 1910, at Ostapovo, with Sophia famously denied access to his deathbed until his very last moments, a final, agonizing twist in their tragic saga. Leo and Sophia Tolstoy's marriage was a crucible of genius and torment, a testament to the profound human cost when deeply held ideals clash with the messy realities of domestic life. Their story, laid bare in their voluminous diaries and letters, offers a raw, unflinching look at love, resentment, intellectual ambition, and the devastating impact of societal expectations. While his literary legacy is secure, the story of his marriage remains a poignant, juicy reminder that even the greatest minds can be consumed by the very human dramas they seek to transcend.